Hi, Peter Charles here of Hooked Fly Fly Fishing, and today we're going to do my emerald shiner pattern one more time. There's a very old video of it, and this is going to be the same fly, just better video quality, that's all. This has been a very popular pattern for me. It's a very effective pattern. I've caught steelhead, bass, and walleye on this fly, often out of the same pool, in the same trip. I mean, it's been that effective. It's a common bait fish in the Great Lakes, and it can pretty well imitate any small bait fish that's around, 2 to 3 inches long, and quite thin and narrow in its body shape. You do not want to make this a big, thick, bulky fly because the emerald shiner is a skinny little thing. So you want to keep the fly a skinny little thing. And it's just very effective. It doesn't look like anything. When you look at this fly, you go, that catches fish? But it does. So let's get going with the tying, and first we'll look at the materials. I have an aluminum tube in here right now. It's 1.5 inches long. Now, I go with aluminum because I want this thing to kick around in the current. If I go with a heavier tube, it's going to be a problem. You could go with a plastic tube as long as you keep it a skinny plastic and don't go with one of the thick plastic tubes. The thread is going to be this Danville monofilament fine, and you'll see why we use that this type of thread when we get towards the end of the fly. The tag is a Uni-Mylar size 10 and the gold silver, and we're going to be using the silver side. The rib is going to be this pearlescent mylar. The body is white yarn. We're going to use two kinds of flash. We're going to use the chartreuse crystal flash, and we're going to use a pearlescent flashabou for the rest of the flash. And the wing is going to be made up of olive bucktail. For eyes, we're going to use these 1/8 inch stick-on mylar eyes. These are flat. You could also use the tab version if you like as well. So let's get started. We're going to start off by tying on the tag. Now, this is yarn body, so we don't have to worry about it being super neat. So what I can do is very quickly run this back with some broad loops. And really not worry about the fact this is not pretty. Now you notice I've put my materials along in a ridge along the top. I'll do that. I'll explain that in a video. I'll put it up in the cards. Now if you pull your mylar tight over those uneven wraps that I've done with the mono, what you end up doing is having this very uneven coating of the rib, which looks ugly, but it serves a purpose to actually first give a gripping surface for your junction tubing, and secondly it adds some additional sparkle because those uneven applications of the mylar create little spectral highlights, and so it's actually quite useful in attracting fish. So I'll just wind that down. Bring my thread forward. Now we're going to put in our pearlescent rib. Again, we put it on top. And we just put that in the material keeper for the moment. And then we put on our yarn. Again, keep everything on top. Get back to the tag, come forward, and I'll get that piece of waste off, and we'll put in a couple of half hitches. Now when you wind on your yarn, make sure you're getting touching turns so you don't get aluminum showing through. Trim off your yarn. Now for some half hitches again. Now we're going to bring our pearlescent rib forward. Next up is our crystal flash, and I'm just using 3 strands. You don't want to overdo this. Grab it by the middle, couple of wraps, bring it to the top. Now this crystal flash is obviously too long. We'll trim that afterwards when we get the bucktail on. Now for our can't speak today. Now for our pearlescent flashabou. Same thing, just a few strands. Grab it by the middle. One wonky one, I'll take that one out. Couple of wraps. Pull it up. Fold it over. Trap it. Okay, now we're ready for our bucktail. Again, go sparse. This is a skinny little fly. Don't put a great big clump on. And now we get the short stuff out of here. Wipe it off into your waste paper basket. Get rid of any strays. Now we're going to size this. We want it, I'd say at about 2 to 2.5 inches, about a little over 2 inches long. Okay, just wrap gently, pull up. Okay, bind back. Try to get any loose bits at the end. Now, the last wrap you put on here is a very light wrap, very little tension. And the purpose for that is to keep the wing down. If you pull tight, it's just going to flare up the wing. Now we're going to take the opportunity to trim out the flash. And you notice I push it back. That way I get a bit of a ragged cut. It doesn't get squared off. So that gets a bit better flutter. Now you'll see the reason for the monofilament thread when we apply our stick-on eyes. These are about a 1/8 inch stick-on eye. Couple of turns. See how it's holding the stick-on eye. You're using the glue of the stick-on eye just to hold it in place long enough for you to get that wrap in. Make sure it's holding it down. Okay, now we wrap off. Trim off. Now we're ready for some head cement. There you go, the emerald shiner. Very simple pattern. It looks good in the water when you swim it. It's a very narrow, sparse, skinny appearing fly. It may not look like much, but man, has this ever caught fish for me. And it does really work. So give it a try, the emerald shiner. Cheers.